now my pleasure, though, to introduce the concluding speaker this morning. It's Alameda County Supervisor Scott Haggerty, who's chair of the MTC, also on the Air District, past president of ABAG, current member of the Executive Board, Regional Planning Committee, chairman of ABAG's Finance and Personnel Committee. And he's going to close out the morning with a discussion of continuing engagement of local officials in government on SB 375. I want to personally thank the supervisor for showing up at a Union City Council meeting earlier this week, from which he's probably just now recovering, since we had probably the most contentious meeting we've had in the last decade. So I welcome Supervisor Haggerty.
Thank you, Mark. I feel the need to speak really slow to all of you today, but I will try to get through this within about an hour and a half. I have been called anywhere from a car salesman to a blender salesman, thank you, Ted, to a magic bullet salesman, none of which I've ever done, but you know, when they're filming those, they keep saying, can you put a little bit more energy into it? And by the time I got to the end, I had about 3 more cups of coffee in me, and that was the final byproduct. So I apologize for all of you who could not keep up. We've heard a lot this morning about the need for a sustainable vision for our region and how important it would be for local government. From our elected officials to our planning and public works directors, transit operators and congestion management agencies, to work together to develop the sustainable community strategies, because let's face it, without the local government buy-in, a regional strategy will not be meaningful. We will prepare our strategy as one Bay Area in a true partnership among local and regional governments, also partnering with interested residents and many very interested stakeholders. Our residents are passionate about their future, this region. They are concerned about the long-term viability of our economy, our air, our land, our bay, and our people. Reflecting these concerns, we are framing the entire effort around the 3 E's: the economy, the environment, and social equity. We will be working with you to adopt goals for each of these vital elements of sustainability. We will set targets to meet these goals, not only for greenhouse gases as required under SB 375, but for things like housing and social equity. We can't get to a sustainable region by looking only at climate change. You've heard today a lot about how we are not starting from scratch, and I would like to reemphasize that point. We are already well on our way to sustainability. There are a lot of examples, great transit-oriented development projects that are located within this region. I'd also like to congratulate many cities and counties that are getting out in front on their climate change by developing their local climate action plans. More than 1/3 of our cities have already adopted or are in the process of developing one. At the regional level, ABAG is wrapping up its assessment of the priority development areas and is looking at ways to further incentivize communities that are stepping up to take on the housing and development near key transit connections. ABAG and BCDC are partnering on work to help local governments prepare for climate change and adaptation to sea level rise. The Air District is doing some tough but important work to make sure that the health impacts of the urban growth and development do not overburden some of our most vulnerable communities. Their work through the development of the CEQA guidelines is in this regard. While controversial now, will help us develop in a way that is beneficial to the Bay Area residents. Just the fact that we are having the discussion is the first important step. On the transportation front, MTC has just retooled its successful Transportation for Livable Communities program to focus on the PDAs and to encourage more affordable housing. MTC also will issue a call for projects in the first portion of its Transportation Climate Initiatives program, which will be awarding some $30 million in climate initiative grants to help us learn what some of the most promising strategies are for curbing greenhouse gases from vehicles and light trucks. A long-term viability for this region's rail, bus, and ferry services are now under evaluation through MTC's Transit Sustainable Project. The outcomes of this project will allow us to coordinate transit investments in pursuit of our larger regional sustainability plan. This is a great start, but we need to stretch further to effectively partner with our local and regional governments on the larger sustainable community strategy. To this point, I want to provide information on plans we are developing based on early dialogue with local officials on how best to engage local government. And I do think by the mere fact that you are all here today, and it was mentioned earlier about the attendance to this meeting, I think we're starting to be successful, but I would challenge you to continue to be engaged. To guide the process of developing the sustainable community strategies, meetings will be organized in each county to lead discussions on such issues as, what do PDAs need to be successful? How do the findings from the PDA assessments match up with local jurisdictions are experiencing? How and where should we locate the 25-year job and housing growth amongst jurisdiction? What policy actions and transportation, non-transportation investments at the local PDA regional levels are needed to support PDAs? And what incentives are needed for the region to achieve and exceed our targets? This spring, the regional agencies, in coordination with the congestion management agencies, will convene county-level meetings all around the region. We will discuss with local elected officials how to best bring local participants together in your county to tackle this task. The congestion management agencies will then host the requisite meetings, which will likely vary by county and be based on corridors and also sub-regions, to work with the regional agencies in assigning growth. These working groups will continue with participation from city and county planning, public works, transit directors, transit operators, public works directors, as well as staff from the congestion management agencies and the 4 regional agencies. The regional agencies will engage with the public throughout this effort. We will partner with local governments to maximize the opportunities for information exchange and a meaningful public input. In addition to the county corridor working groups, the public will participate through a regional advisory group open to all. The Joint Policy Committee has stressed the critical need to involve city managers, county administrators in this process. We will form an executive working group comprised of city, county managers, congestion management agencies, directors, regional agency executives, transit officials, and others. It is important to note that today is the beginning of a 3-year process leading up to the adoption of the Sustainable Community Strategy and the Regional Transportation Plan in the spring of 2013. We want you to be involved in every step of the way. To that end, I'd like to quickly run through some important milestones between now and October, when we will likely meet again at another General Assembly or regional forum. First up in May, we will release the draft public participation plan by MTC and ABAG that will provide the blueprint for engaging and developing the entire sustainable community strategy and the regional transportation plan. That draft plan is stated for adoption in September. By June 30th, the California Air Resources Board must release a draft target for our region for reducing greenhouse gases. CARB will adopt the final target in September 30th. Also in September, look for the 25-year draft jobs housing target from ABAG, along with the draft performance targets relating to the environment, the economy, and social equity. Those of you who serve on the regional agencies committees such as ABAG Planning Committee, MTC's Planning Committee and Commission, and ABAG's Administration Committee and the Executive Board will receive regular staff reports on key work plan elements of the SCS. Longer term, you can count on regular updates at ABAG General Assemblies and other forums. Another great way to stay engaged is to bookmark and frequently visit onebayarea.org website. You can sign up and receive and get meeting schedules and materials, and otherwise keep update on progress. If you have other ideas on ways we can involve you, your constituents, please don't be shy. Please fill out the blue comment sheets that are in your packets and leave them at the registration tables. I promise that we will carefully consider each and every one of your ideas and your suggestions. Let me close by making this one point. Yes, this is an important process. The issues are indeed complex. They are daunting. There is a daunting number of agencies involved. But all of this is trumped by the simple fact that there is indeed only one Bay Area for all of us to pass on to our children and our grandchildren. What we do here today for sustainability is a legacy we can leave for future generations. Now, I will take you back to the agenda in the here and now. Up next, you get to view a showcase of some of the cutting-edge projects and policies that are being employed in our region to make it a more sustainable place. You can now view this at your leisure unless you are an ABAG voting delegate. If you are indeed one of these folks, please stay in the room for the start of the ABAG business meeting. If you are not an ABAG voting delegate, please see the display showcases in the adjoining space, and representatives on the projects will give you a more detailed explanation. Please ask them a lot of questions. At 12:30, we will move to lunch in the adjoining space on the other side of the curtains. See you at lunch, after which ABAG will present its annual Growing Smarter Together Awards. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thanks, Scott. I want to just thank all of the participants here this morning, as well as everybody for showing up. And remember, it's just like the Carthaginians versus the Iberians. The Iberians were better fighters individually, but they could not cooperate. So it's the same thing here. We need to be able to cooperate to move forward. Our enemy is sustainability, not the French, as the English would have known. Is Mackenzie out there? I had to get that in for him.